AI means that the need for technical expertise will be reduced because AI will be providing the technical expertise, but you'll need people who can congeal all that information together and make something actionable from that.
Joined the military very young. It was in 2002, I think, is when I enlisted. So I was like 19 years old. Did like a semester or two of college that wasn't really panning out for me. So I was in the military for about 18 years before I got into the commissioning world. AI systems analyze like vibration and temperature and pressure to predict, potential equipment failures before startup.
When you are putting people into a position of higher risk, maybe it does make more sense to put a robot, a drone.
Sure. I mean, they do it now. My experiences from the military, we have robots that, will be on the EOD team, going out there if a team calls in a possible explosive or an IED sitting out in the middle of the road.
So with me today is Mike Palapoli, who has been working in the commissioning world for a very long time, or at least by his years. So can you tell us something about yourself?
Sure. So, originally was in the military. So, going back, I was grown up in Florida. I grew up in Florida. I joined the military very young. It was in 2002, I think, is when I enlisted. So I was like 19 years old. Did like a semester or two of college that wasn't really panning out for me. So I ended up joining the military, and then I was in the military for about 18 years before I got into the commissioning world. So I did a little bit of reserve time and active duty time within that 18 years, and then in 2018 in October, my brother-in-law, who was doing commissioning for probably about 10 years at this point with a floor company. He recently left floor and got onto the contract side, but he asked me if I wanted to get into his world, and what he was doing at the time was lockout, tag out, and permit to work. But he was also like a mechanical commissioning guy. He was just doing the lockout, tag out, and permit to work portion for this specific project. And he's like, "You want to get out of the military and make some money?" And I was said, "Sure, let's do it." So I was kind of already coming up on the 20-year mark for my military career, and I needed to start thinking about that transitional process. So this just seemed like a pretty good opportunity to get into it. So within the military, though, I was doing a lot of logistical stuff, operation stuff. I was the training sergeant for my unit. So basically, I was just making sure all the training and everything was in line. I was tracking all the metrics, reporting to hire, and just making sure that our unit was up to date with all the requirements that for all the different MOSs or jobs, that skill sets that we had within our unit. So I did that for a while. I managed a lot within the military as far as supply stuff goes. So I was managing like over $12 million worth of equipment at any given point. I had at least 150 soldiers underneath me at any given point. So it was a lot of like leadership stuff, and I kind of fell into it at a young age, in a young rank in the military, because I had some seniors above me, and they kind of got promoted and went to other units. So all their roles kind of fell on me. So I just started doing everything within the unit as a little E5 sergeant, performing jobs at E7, E8 level. So I got into like the leadership side of it pretty quickly, and started climbing through the ranks pretty quickly as well. If I stayed in, I probably would have ended up having a really, really good career, and probably still would have been in. But this was a good change for me because it, brought me into a different industry, and I've had successes with it, and it's been good. And I'm by no means a subject matter expert in it. There's so much to learn still, but it was good. So I did commissioning for about 8 years. I started off in Lotto and PTW, permit to work and lockout, tag out. I was also doing simultaneous operations, so basically deconflicting work between construction side, preservation, commissioning, and what have you. And then so I did that for about 8 years. I started getting into the commissioning side a little bit, as far as mechanical commissioning and electrical commissioning, just working with the different disciplines and learning the skill sets and all that. So I started helping them out, and that brings me to where I am now with Gas Global Services as a major account representative. So, hopefully help the team on this side of things.
Well, wow, you're hired based upon everything you just said.
Yeah, appreciate it.
No, um, no, that was good. That was good. So the last things that you were doing, I guess you spent a decent amount of your time working in the energy sector, I guess with one of the LNG terminals. Then the last project was with one of the chip fab
Yep.
facilities.
So it was the Samsung semiconductor facility, but we were on the water reclamation side of things. So all the dirty water that was being used to make the Samsung semiconductor or Samsung chips, all that would get cycled back to us, and we would use our system at the water reclamation side to clean whatever particulates were in it. Different processes for what different things that were in the water, and then we'd send all the recycled water back to Samsung for use, so they weren't constantly just pulling water from the city.
Sure. So, what did a typical day look like for you at Cal Pass and then for the Samsung project?
So pretty big differences. I mean, I guess some of it was the same, but so at Cal Pass, it was a LNG export facility. So over there, it was hustle and bustle, long hours. It was different over there because they were trying to get the LNG facility up and running quickly so they can start selling LNG to the commercial market before they had to start, providing to the contract. So, it was long hours. A typical day would be I would leave the house about 4 o'clock in the morning, get to work at about 5. It was about an hour drive. It was in a super remote location in Cameron, Louisiana. So, we'd get there about 5 o'clock in the morning. At that point, everybody would come in for all the different disciplines would come in for their permits, and, we'd have to validate all the permits going out into the field. But, the day prior, we had a SIMOPS, a simultaneous operations meeting, where we would discuss, conflicts between work activities in the field. So we'd made sure that everything that was going to be pushed out the next day was safe to go to work. We'd just make sure all these guys had their stuff in line. If they needed lockout, tag out, we make sure that the systems that they were working on were de-energized properly, and they would hang their locks and all that on the lock boxes that we had all the valves or electrical equipment or whatever locked out in. And then we just hand them their packages and they'd go to work. And then throughout the day, we'd respond to new permit to works. We would respond to new lottos, lockout, tagouts. So if there was new construction work or new work that needed to be done that required de-energization of a system, then we would be looking at engineering drawings all day, marking up what needed to be energized to make sure that the work moved forward safely. And we would get out there, we'd hang the locks, we'd make sure all the valves were closed in the correct position. If it was mechanical, if it was electrical, we'd make sure all the breakers were in the off position and make sure we do that systematically as well. And we'd work hand in hand with the commissioning personnel or the commissioning system owners for those systems that we were actually de-energizing. And then on top of that, we work a little bit with the commissioning group as well. So if it was mechanical or electrical, we'd be out in the field helping them with some of their activities, as needed and stuff. We just try to cover down. But, a lot of meetings, a lot of hours. We're typically working 84-hour weeks, no minimum, or we weren't working any less than 60 hours a week. So, but it was typically 84 hours. I know towards the end of the project, when things are really getting going, you're starting to look at like 90-plus-hour weeks. So
the 60, 70 hours really was just a warm up for later on.
Yeah, just getting your feet wet. Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I understand. No, that's
prep work.
And that's that might be a bit more ambitious than a lot of other projects, but it's not uncommon in commissioning and startup to see that kind of workload. Right. So basically, the point of this the podcast is to talk about as far as AI. And let me just start by saying that clearly it's not having a significant impact yet at present.
Right.
Certainly in the last couple of projects, of course. Kind of a funny thought, I guess. Maybe at some point in time, Samsung might actually help create the chips that actually help create or help with AI, to where eventually more and more things will be done by AI.
Sure.
But, okay, so yes, not much at present. But one of the things that my intent was to talk about, like for some industries, it's already having a significant impact. One of One of my sons is in the IT sector, the tech sector, and yes, they're seeing a definite impact as far as the developers and how many people you need to do for this and for that. And so that part, yeah, you can see that. And but to our conversation, what could you see in 5 to 10 years? Um, you know, of the work that is being done, probably what percentage of the time did you spend out in the field?
I would say it was probably 50-50. We spent a lot of time out in the field. And then yeah, maybe my specific role, we weren't using, anything AI, but I mean, I could see in like the next 5 to 10 years where AI could definitely come and augment some of our work, especially I think we had a conversation before you were talking about uh drones or something like that, being able to turn valves, maybe not 5 to 10 years with that, but a little bit longer. But I know there are things out there after doing some research that is helping with commissioning, um, uh, as far as AI being used for like pre-startup checks and AI systems using like being able to analyze like vibration and temperature and pressure to predict potential equipment failures before startup or even during pre-commissioning or commissioning. So I mean the AI is out there. I don't think anybody's using it. When I was doing this research, I saw some of the companies named like Shell and Chevron and BP and bigger companies like that. So it is starting to be implemented. I haven't personally had the pleasure of seeing it, but yeah,
Yeah, it's still very early in the ball game.
for sure.
And one of the things though where you might have been utilized, not so much artificial intelligence per se, but when you were at the different jobs, did you ever have or work with drones?
So the only time I've ever seen drones on site was just to do like site pictures. So they just send drones up there to take photographs of progress basically. So
Sure. Okay.
mapping and all that stuff.
Okay. Well, certainly that would be that because I mean you think about it, in all fairness, artificial intelligence has really been only in the last 3 years. So
Sure.
for it to have already made an impact out in the field, yeah, it would be a bit premature. But again, the point of this for me is to start talking about how it could in the somewhat distant, but not too distant future. I mean, hey, you'll still be a young guy when some of the stuff is around.
Yeah.
Maybe a
I don't
moderately
know
young
about that,
guy.
but
Yeah, yeah.
well,
No, maybe by the time you have a kid just about ready to graduate
yeah,
from high school, I
yeah. And
mean
maybe
that.
AI can even keep me a little bit younger. Who knows?
Yeah,
No, maybe not.
I'm hope. My hope for AI is that it'll give me somebody else to talk to,
Yeah.
because on the days when my wife is really getting tired of listening to me, then she'll just. We're gonna have to name the AI character for me, so that way she can just say, "Hey, you need to go talk to Bob."
Yeah.
I'm kind of done.
Just sub
Uh,
Bob in.
yeah, 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 yeah. Tag, you're it,
That
Bob.
that's a good idea. Well, you kind of just triggered a memory that I had. So when we were doing the Cal Pass project, we actually had a team going around. It was a contracted company. I can't remember the name of it, but they would actually go out and draw all the pipelines in the field, on like graphing paper or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Doing walk downs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and all the
Yeah.
all the different changes and everything, they would actually go out there and draw and put the measurements on that. I could see
Yep.
AI taking that over pretty quickly. But that's like that I don't think AI would even augment that some of that work. That's like almost a complete takeover of some of that AI.
Yeah. 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 I mean, to some extent, it could almost be done by drones
Right,
at some
exactly.
point in time for them to get more of an aerial view. Um, but but by the same token, yeah, drone or a robot. Um, because one of the things about the robots, I suspect that we're 5 years away at least before you see real commercial application, where beyond manufacturing, because manufacturing is a fairly um, static environment.
Hmm.
To be walking out in the field would be a bit more challenging. But heck, they've already got self-driving cars, so
Yeah,
if you can drive a car, if it can drive a car, then certainly it can walk around and hopefully not step in a pothole or
sure.
get. So one of the things that I did consider, um, why would someone implement AI, artificial intelligence, into the construction world and the commissioning world? Um, Number one, I think because of potential labor shortages,
Hmm.
the fact is with the amount of work that we have potentially coming up, I'm not sure we have the labor to support
Okay.
all that work. Now, we obviously right now I can't say that because there are a lot of good people who are available. Um, but you add a second, a third, a fourth, a tenth multi-billion-dollar project, and that labor is long gone.
Hmm.
At least that's been my experience.
Right.
So, number one would be labor. Number two is risk. Um, when you are putting people into a position of higher risk, maybe it does make more sense to put a robot, a drone, into a situation where, okay, the drone gets crushed, the robot gets crushed. I'm not happy about it, but it's a lot better than somebody getting hurt.
Sure. I mean, they do
Um,
it now. My experiences from the military, we have robots that,
oh,
will be on the EOD team, going out there if a team calls in a possible explosive or an IED out sitting out in the middle of the road, they have robots that'll go check that stuff out now, or even going into breaching a room or something like that. We'll send a robot in first. I mean, there's different applications that they use now for that in the military, and I'm sure they're using it. Uh, actually, they are. So there's this remote lighthouse I was just reading about the other day, and they had a light keeper out there, but it was in the middle of the Atlantic somewhere, and waves would crash on it. It was terrible conditions out there, um, and they were paying this guy tons of money, whoever the lighthouse keeper was. But I mean, that is completely automated now. So I mean,
right.
you know, there are applications already out there that will, to benefit for, risk and everything that you're saying, safety. So yeah, for sure. I could see it.
Well, the other thing, using the manufacturing versus a construction site as a difference is that manufacturing site is typically going to be fairly confined in a fairly limited potential options. Whereas if you step into a construction site, it's going to have to analyze and address a significantly greater number of possibilities. And so part of the reason why it hasn't been done to date is for that very reason. I mean, a million possibilities versus in a factory, maybe, there's a lot of options or possibilities,
Right.
but not nearly the same.
Right.
So, so yes, that part. Um, the other thing that would potentially save, and again, this is not so much on the commissioning side, but it could be, is, obviously we've seen a lot of modularization of a lot of different parts to these large projects.
Hmm.
Um, and I suspect that's only going to increase, which
Absolutely.
I don't know if that makes it easier on commissioning or requires less work. Um, I'd be curious, if we think of some of our friends that we know, if you ask them, is there more work now for a project the size of a CalPass
Hmm.
for commissioning, or is it less? I'm not sure we know the answer to that, and maybe we'll have to go find one of our friends to ask. But
Sure.
15, 20 years ago, did it require the same man hours, or is it less? It might be more. I mean,
Probably more. I would imagine if it's more, if everything's going modular now.
yeah. Well, and part of me also says that because commissioning now gets involved much more sooner. Oops, much sooner in projects that it actually would potentially require more. Now, construction, I would think, would be less because of, you're not doing as much at site.
Right. Exactly.
So that I would assume that that would be the case. Um, so anyway, so when we were talking about this, I know you were very worried that I was going to somehow come up with this vision of, that the Terminator was going to be doing all the commissioning work. But no, best case scenario for me was 10 to 15 years at best could they actually produce robots that could
Hey,
actually do.
we don't know where it's going to lead to. Okay,
No,
we have no idea.
no, we don't. But it's good to start thinking about it because the reality is that within your professional career, it will have an impact. What
A
that
hundred
is,
percent.
to be determined. Now, in my professional career, at my advanced stage, yeah, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. 10 years? Oh boy, am I going to be doing this in 10 years?
I don't think so. You don't want to be. You want to be on the beach somewhere with a Mai Tai.
No, I'll be doing something else.
Okay.
I've been working since I was, I think, 12. I was mowing yards when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
So honestly, when I think about retiring, I think, oh God, I like golf. Okay, I'm okay with the beach every once in a while. I like this, I like that, but no, 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 I couldn't do it. I go
Yeah. Me either.
crazy.
Yeah.
Besides, again, um, yes, my wife would be saying, "Hey, David, wouldn't it be good if you went back to work?"
There's why I know guys that are, kind of in between retiring, jumping back on projects and everything, and as soon as they're at the house, the wife's like, maybe you should find another project.
Yeah, yeah.
Time to go.
I know we talked about, how great it'd be for you to be home. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
changed my mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, no, I didn't understand that. A good friend of mine, he talked about how it was important for a husband and a wife to have their own interest and do their own different things, so that way they had something when they came back together they could talk about.
sure.
Instead of the old married couple thing of where they just keep repeating the same stories
Yeah.
and then complain about the kids. Everybody always has to complain about
Yep.
the kids. Why don't they call us? Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I mean,
we're completely.
I used to, work long shifts too, 12-hour shifts, 13-hour shifts away from the house, 14-hour shifts even. But now I've been at the house a little bit more, and I just look at my wife every now and again. I'm like, still good, right? Everything's cool.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
want me out
yeah.
of here? Cool to
After
stay?
years of working all those hours and all the travel and this and that, yeah, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
no,
It's a big change.
yeah, no, it is a big change. So, getting back to artificial intelligence and the impact on the commissioning startup world, one of the areas, and I think we may or may not have talked about this, where I could see it having a much more immediate impact would be on the operations manuals and all the documentation necessary for the plant,
Sure.
for plant startup. Um, so, have you ever had any involvement with the guys who write up all the stuff?
Um, yeah, I mean, I have done it myself, writing procedures for my specific department,
Oh, sure.
and and then I could see where AI could be very helpful with that, even in design. So, you can use AI to kind of, get through it a lot faster. I mean, I've written procedures where, you know, I would write it, I'd read it 1,000 times, I'd make changes, then it would go to somebody else, maybe say the commissioning manager, and then it would go to the project manager, and then it would go to client, and all these different people are reading this and finding at every level they find a mistake. Somebody's always
Yes.
going to find a mistake because that's just the way human error is. We're going to have something in there that somebody's going to either pick at or just want to change. But yeah, if you have AI scanning over things like this, the procedures for this piece of equipment, or for this, even for, if I was in lockout tagout, right? So we use OSHA a lot, right?
Hmm?
You could use AI to, scan this procedure and make sure it aligns with OSHA, instead of having me to be like, okay, so I have this part of the procedure. Let me go to the OSHA manual now and dig through all that and those thousands and thousands of words to make sure it aligns with OSHA. So, we don't get caught off guard, or we're not doing the wrong thing. So, I mean, AI
Sure.
can significantly increase the speed there. I mean, to write a procedure, it takes days, weeks, months. It takes a long time. So, and then even the design of things. If you can use AI applications to go over engineering drawings, like electrical single lines or schematics or P&IDs or what have you, and make sure that we have all the right pieces in place to move forward with the build. Even looking at, we'll take like natural gas, for instance. You have to have so many block valves, and you have to have vent valves and all that stuff. So if you design this, instead of all these engineers passing it around and looking over everything, I mean, you could just implement AI to go through everything and make sure there's no mismatches or inconsistencies or things like that, just to speed up that whole process. So.
Well, yeah, you absolutely can have it do a review, and then you can actually have it check itself. It's one of the things that was one of the classes, one of the videos I was watching on how to use it. Yes, you actually ask it to check itself, because I mean, I guess we've all kind of heard of the phantom answers, and I know it's happened in the legal world where lawyers have utilized AI, and it's cited cases that didn't exist.
Sure.
And got censored, or even
boy.
I think somebody told me that some people have been disbarred for it.
Really?
I mean, because ultimately you are responsible for the end product. And if you haven't taken the time to review however you came about coming up with that stuff, if AI helps you, great, but ultimately it's your neck.
Yeah.
So, it's one of the things that, it's a wonderful tool. And I'm sure it'll continue to get better, but yeah, you do have to check it.
But that's also my fear with AI, and I'm going to bring this into this
Oh, that's
conversation.
right. Well, yeah.
Because personally, I feel if we use more AI to help us with those things, then like our attention to detail may start to slip, and
Yes.
I want to be able to argue that even our intelligence may start to slip as a human race. But I know you don't think so. I think you think it's going to enhance
Oh,
it, right? Or no?
oh no, I mean, to a certain extent, I agree, because certainly
Okay.
as a kid, people used to say, "Oh, you shouldn't use calculators because, oh my God, you're not going to be able to do the math."
Yeah.
What if
No,
the
we all have a
battery runs
calculator.
out? What if
Yeah.
the battery runs out? Well, what if, I guess, somebody unplugs, or the all the computers, or an ERP or something like that?
Yeah.
ERP? Electromagnetic? No, EMP. Not
EMP.
EMP, electromagnetic
Electromagnetic
pulse.
pulse. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I actually do agree that it could potentially create a laziness in individuals, because they become so reliant that 99.95% of the time it's right. But
Yeah.
that 0.05% is when something blows up, and well,
Sure.
it's your head.
Sure.
So anyway, so yes, I would actually agree with you. I might have said it just to have fun with you, and
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it is a real problem. Again, using the calculator example of 40 years ago, yeah, I'm not sure people could still do the math in the long, everything handwritten, and
Right.
I'm not sure I can still do it.
Yeah. It's been a bit
Um,
for me. Luckily, we
yeah.
homeschool, so I still get to practice with the kids
Oh,
here and
that's
there.
true. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my basics and my foundation of mathematics is still there, but yeah, the tough
Yeah.
stuff I probably can't do.
Yeah, you got to carry stuff over, and yeah, all that good
Yep.
stuff. So, so yes. Well, so I would agree that yes, that is a potential risk, and in the commissioning world, and in the documentation in particular, yes, you could become too reliant. And like I said, that was the main area that really came to mind when I was thinking about, okay, in the next 2 years, yeah, I can see that. 2 to 5 years, let's think. You're saying 50% of your time is spent in the office,
Mm-hmm.
50% out in the field,
Sure.
and another 50% doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
So 50% in the office would mean that you would, mean, if you're in the office, you're creating reports, you're
Yep,
confirming.
prepping for meetings, creating reports, reviewing work to go out into the field the next day. If there's issues, we're contacting people, getting information, making corrections. Just, a lot of everything.
Okay, so I mean, there's places here and there where it could help, but it's not something that can necessarily take over, because that doesn't sound like enough work that can be absorbed by AI.
No.
Okay, yes, it could help you. Maybe as you're walking out in the field, you could be taking notes, talking to your assistant AI, who or your agent, who then sets up and communicates with the various parties.
I mean, it just depends like on how far AI can go. Because then I could also think of a scenario where maybe it can take over. So say like we have all the work going out in the field. If all the work is somehow inputted and tracked by I mean AI can sit there and find conflicts in different work activities and identify if systems need to be de-energized, and if we have the robots and the drones, it can send out the robots and the drones to go de-energize systems. So I mean, yeah, you might not. I could see where you may not need to be staffed up as much. So maybe there still needs to be human presence there, but maybe not as much. So on Cal
Sure,
Pass we had a lotto and permit to work team of it was small compared to other projects, but maybe eight to 10 people at any given point. So that could easily shrink down to four, three.
sure. Well,
So
I mean, and that's really the thing, going back to the tech slash IT examples, is that
mm,
they still have developers, but it's requiring fewer, a decent number less. But you still have to have the higher level guys, the ones who really are the more conceptual, and can think in those terms. And this is where, when I typically want to go into the part about one of my predictions, is that, and I'm trying to figure out how it would work in commissioning, but I guess to what you just said, one of my things is that we're going to have conductors.
hmm
AI means that the need for technical expertise will be reduced because AI will be producing or providing the technical expertise, but you'll need people who can kind of congeal all that information together and make something actionable from that. So, from my
Right.
perspective, I call it a conductor, someone who understands all the pieces, not an
Sure.
expert, or they could be an expert in one area, but who understands the whole range of things.
Right.
Um, so to your point, yes, maybe there's 3 or 4 people instead of 8, but they have to be a little bit more skilled because they're
Sure.
telling their agents, um, okay, I need you to go confirm about this, this valve, this or that. So yeah, that could be a logical step. Um, so yes, yeah. Okay, so let's see. We've talked about AI and potential impact in the short term, not really just one area, 2 to 5 years. Um, Maybe acting as agents to
hmm
help you do what you need to do, such that your time is more productive.
Exactly.
Because getting people on the phone and doing stuff, I mean, it has to be done, but it can't be said that that was the most productive thing.
Right.
You think 5 to 10 to 15 years, then okay, maybe you do have robots walking around
Right.
in the field who are now actually starting to take on a bigger role. But how that plays out, like I said, my guess it's 5 years at a minimum before Tesla and others have produced enough of their robots to where it could actually be out there to do stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Um,
But even like in the field, even on valves, we have actuated like motor operated valves, actuated valves. So there's valves out there that are controlled by motor, or controlled by air, or controlled by what have you. So I mean, what says the technology increases there? I mean, and there's more of that. There's not so many manual valves out there. I mean, who
Sure.
knows if there's going to be, in 10 years, maybe there's no manual valves and it's completely just automated that way. Who knows?
Right. Actually, surprising. Although I guess it's good to have certain valves. I mean, I guess there's a reason why certain valves would not be automated. I mean, I'm sure obviously there's a good reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so okay, let's see. So we've talked about that. So actually, one of the things I was going to just spend 5-10 minutes
Mm,
talking with you, since you are former military, is the impact upon AI on the military. In just a few minutes, although, oh my God, that is of all the applications, like most applications of technology almost always head to the military first
hmm A
for
lot of it gets tested there.
a lot of it gets and developed.
hmm
A guy that I mean, I still watch, still read all of his books. A guy by the name of George Friedman talks about how he was making a presentation in Abu Dhabi about how the iPhone and how almost every piece of that was developed by the military, the
Wow.
camera, the GPS. And he started listing off all these different things, the semiconductors. It was all done as a result of military requirements.
Sure.
So, having said that, artificial intelligence, what do you think? Do you talk to your friends, or if you could actually even say any? I mean, I guess I'm sure you could. You're
I'm
not going to say
sure I
anything
can say
sensitive,
most
but
things now.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, it's just weird because like I don't really know what's out there as far as AI, because I mean we're even in my infantry battalion, like we're only privy to so much information and so much technology. But I mean,
right,
it's pretty plausible that there, I mean, we already have unmanned aircrafts now, right? So it's uh probably pretty realistic that we might not even have, fighter pilots in the future. Or I mean, there's so many cool things that are happening now too, with like monitoring and scanning things too. So I mean, we could probably, I'm sure we're able to scan certain areas and have some sort of AI out there that's feeding back all this information to, to the back to command or back to base or wherever, instead of having to send like recon teams out. Because in an infantry battalion we have like the scout team, right? And their mission on the scout team is to basically go and recon. They're like the most forward of our squads, right? So they'll go out and recon areas. There, you have snipers and scout teams as well. So I mean, a lot of that I think can be done through AI, and I'm sure it probably is now. I mean, we have capabilities of sending, high altitude drones and camera scanning and on all that now. So I mean, what's to say we even need scout teams coming up in the future?
sure.
Or
Well, I
or
mean, it's one of the things about the whole issue regarding Ukraine, the Russian-Ukrainian war, is what they've been doing there. I mean,
with the
you
drones,
talk about
yeah.
as far as drones being up high, seeing things. Well, small drones actually going and flying into, turrets and this and that, and yeah, no, it's pretty wild stuff.
And I mean,
Um,
we have drones now. I mean, like you've seen YouTube videos, I'm sure, about them, the little like bees or mosquito drones. I mean,
mhm.
there's tiny, tiny things that are out there monitoring and scanning and, taking video foot. It's scary. It's scary to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it
But
is pretty scary. The moment I meet a woman named Sarah Connor,
yeah, it's time to build the bunker.
yeah, yeah. Or one of my favorite, there was an interview of, it was Elon Musk and the guy from Alibaba, Jack Ma.
Yep.
And Jack Ma thought it'd be funny to name their AI company Skynet.
Okay.
And Elon Musk is listening to this, and Jack Ma saying, "Oh, there's no risk. There's no risk." And he's like, yeah, you're creating something that is potentially
Yeah.
smarter than us, and you just
Yep.
think it's going to sit there and just sit there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I like it
So,
when Elon Musk said, "Yeah, I think there's like a 10 to 20% chance it kills us all."
well, yeah, even the CEO, I think, of Google or something like that said, that humans are going to be hiding from AI by 2037 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah. But I mean, as far as like AI in the military, I honestly haven't seen much, but there's so much crazy technology that I have seen. Like I sent you the other day the YouTube video about the skeletal system that was being
Yep.
tested by the special forces units and everything. I mean, something like that is cool. I mean, I don't know if there's any, I'm sure there's AI applications in there somewhere, but most of that is just cool technology. But
Well, the AI would probably be trying to get it all the gears and all the other pieces working together
sure.
versus, I mean, because that would require fairly hugely sophisticated. Um, yeah, I would think that the tech for that would be pretty significant.
Sure.
Yeah, when you told me about that, I think I made the joke about how it's actually from the movie The Matrix, the third one when they're shooting up into the sky
Yeah,
to
yeah,
as
yeah,
the
yeah. You showed me that. I
thing.
was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, so you know, the only thing that really puts a chill in my bones is just not having that like human reaction or that human emotion behind things. Because AI is just going to react to what I guess the it's designed to do, what the mission is, and it's going to carry out that mission, without really giving it much thought. Like it's programmed to do something, so it's going to do what it's programmed to do. That
Oh, I think it's actually worse than that because I assume that at some point in time you will program it and it will decide whether it believes its programming is correct or not and its mission is correct or
right,
not.
right, yeah, like all the movies
That,
suggest, like, well, we're here to protect human race, so this is what we need to do to protect human race.
yes, we
Yeah,
must
yeah,
kill everybody to protect
yeah,
them. Yes.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it's
Gosh,
well, like I said, it's going to be interesting. And for your kids,
yeah, because we're not
certainly,
far off, so it will be my kids.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, even within the educational system and how it can, especially considering your homeschooling, how it could play a fairly significant role in education. I like to think of it as, one of the problems of education for so long has been that, basically it tries to mass produce a product. But the problem is the product, the material is human beings, and human beings, by their very nature, are they're not the same. And
Mm-mm.
so, what I like the thought of is that, like, if one of your sons really wants to study dinosaurs for a month or 2 months, they can really dig into it and actually learn, the biology, learn all the different things, and that an AI agent could, with the I guess a training program. Oh my gosh, what do you call it? That teachers work off of. Oh my
Like a
gosh.
syllabus.
Yeah, basically like a syllabus,
Yeah,
but
curriculum.
allow a curriculum. Thank you.
Hmm.
Basically allow uh, an individual to go off curriculum, but still working towards an end goal.
Hmm.
Um, and for me, the problem for education is that trying to basically make everybody do the same thing that makes no sense.
Sure. Yep.
Most
Yeah.
kids can't do it. And they
No.
actually,
No.
especially boys,
Yeah.
I actually, yeah, yeah, yeah. My youngest son, he, when he was in first or second grade, he wanted to learn about the Middle Ages.
Okay. That's cool.
Okay, I'm not sure the school was prepared to help him learn about the
No.
Middle Ages, but the fact is that homeschooling and AI could have, if that was something that he's really passionate about, he could
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
or could now.
I mean, those are
So
like the what are they called? Like Montessori schools or something like that. They build off the child's like passions, I guess. They'll kind
yes,
of steer them in that direction. Yeah, and that's what we do here. We whatever the kids like. We try if Mason's into military this week, which he's been in military his whole life. So we just steer him into that direction. He likes history. He likes all that stuff. So we focus on that. Obviously, he has to do everything else. He needs his
Right.
mathematics and language arts and all that stuff. But yeah, it's definitely good. But you're not going to get that at a regular school.
No, no. Unless you're a serious nerd. Okay,
Yeah.
so when I was a kid, I studied a lot about World War II in particular. I might have been like an expert when I was 12.
Yeah, okay.
But I liked it. I mean, I always loved study of study of war. I mean,
Yeah.
in large part because of how it well, it impacts everything.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
anyway,
I was
well,
always kind of nerding out on marine biology stuff. I used to go to the library and check out those big marine biology books and just read everything about fish and whales and everything. I loved it. I still do to this day. Love the
yeah,
ocean.
like I said, for your kids now, actually, that's something that I mean, you had to go to a library, and actually, that
Oh
was
yeah.
the nice thing about going to a library, as I did.
Yep.
But now it truly is at their fingertips,
Oh
and a
yeah.
far
Definitely.
far greater level of resources.
Right.
So
Which is also crazy because we were talking about this the other day. I was talking about it with my friend, and I don't really even recall the transition of when we were just able to grasp all this knowledge at our fingertips. Like I can hardly remember how we used to get knowledge back in the day. Like did we just if we wanted to know something and we just couldn't go to a library or get to an encyclopedia at that time, we just forgot about it and moved on with our day? Or like how did it
yeah,
even work out? It never used to be a bother, but now like if I need to know something, I have to grab my phone and Google
yes.
it or whatever. It's crazy. Crazy.
So there was a woman roughly my age talking about, she was answering some a millennial's question of, what did you do? She says, well, you just didn't know it,
Yeah, you
and
just didn't know it.
we
And you were
were
good
kind
with
of
it.
cool with that.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that important.
Right.
Very rarely is it really that important,
Sure.
but now. So, just trying to think of ways to wrap this up. Since we technically have come to the agreement that there is no immediate impact for the commissioning startup by artificial intelligence, except for possibly in the documentation part.
Sure.
And maybe some tools that could be implemented in the next 2 to 5 years, like
Yep.
agents, to, I guess, but using military term, be a
Yep.
force multiplier
Mm-hmm.
by using agents would allow you to be much more productive.
Right.
I had to throw the military. That is a military term,
Yeah.
force multiplier,
Sure.
and that's kind of what the American sets us apart.
Right. Yeah,
Versus, I
definitely.
guess, maybe the Russians who, yeah, they don't multiply anything.
Right.
Maybe they divide.
Yeah,
You know
they're
what?
dividing
Let's
now.
have 100 people run across that field.
Uh,
By God, it worked so well 100 years ago.
yeah. Yeah, they messed up this time. They showed themselves.
Oh my. Yeah. We might lose people, or some people might get mad, but yeah. The fact that they fought this war really no differently than what they fought World War II like.
Right.
Artillery and run across a field.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's
Yep.
that's your game plan.
Yeah. We're past that. They better catch up.
Yeah.
They're getting
That's
left
why they
behind.
could go back to using their 1950s tanks, their T-55s or whatever, because
Right.
really their military style hasn't changed.
Yeah. Unless, unless that's just the game that they were playing because they were going against kind of a similar country, right? But if they're, playing that game against the United States or probably even China, then it would be a different game. So I don't know if they have those capabilities just tucked away, but
Well, no. I
yeah.
think the answer is no, and I don't think
Yeah,
the
that's
Chinese
what
do
I'm
either.
thinking.
But the difference is that you have to have fought in and to actually have gotten your officer corps and your leadership to understand how to utilize and how to work in this manner.
Sure. Yeah.
I would
And they
think
they don't have that experience like we do.
no. So there you go. Well, good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time,
Sure.
and hopefully that will make everybody feel better that commissioning and startup is safe
For now.
for
There,
now.
it's
There
getting
we go. For
implemented
now,
and it's there, but it's coming.
it's coming. It's coming, but not anytime soon. For the older guys, you're safe. You're good. You're golden.
But what I can say, if when it does come, I think everybody needs to start getting on board with it, that it is coming. So if you're
Yes.
in a position where you need to where AI can come and affect your job, then you need to figure out how to use AI. You need to
Yes.
become abreast with all the functions and start taking classes and whatever courses you can get to understand it and learn how to use it. And if it will affect your job immediately, then I would say probably figure out a way where you can still be productive with
Yes.
AI being there, And if not,
Oh,
then maybe
well,
pick up a new skill set.
it goes back to my conductor theory that yes, it means that you need to have a decent understanding of all the parts running around you, such
Sure.
that, and obviously, yes, also know how to use the tools, because ultimately AI is another tool,
Right. Yeah,
just a
exactly.
really smart tool.
And these big companies that are that kind of have a grasp on the industry, these smaller companies are going to have a massive advantage now too with using these AI tools. If it's starting to get implemented in these smaller companies are understanding it and learning it and able to implement it, then the bigger companies, there's going to be a lot of competition there. So the bigger companies better get on board too, or ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway.
So anyway, well, good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and good luck. And I'm sure we'll be talking probably later
Excellent.
today.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
all right. Thank you.
Thanks, David.